You've probably heard this promise before, right? Escape the 9 to 5, live anywhere you want, and become one of the new rich. It sounds a little bit like a scam, doesn't it? That's the super audacious claim from Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek. It's a book that's created a ton of fans and a ton of skeptics. So today, we're going to break down the core ideas in just about 5 minutes.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll hit that skepticism head on. Then, we'll get into what it really means to be rich. After that, we'll look at how it's all supposed to work, followed by a much-needed reality check. We'll also cover 2 huge levers for getting more efficient, and we'll wrap up with the big question this whole idea leaves you with. Okay, first things first. We have to talk about that subtitle. It's the elephant in the room, right? Escape 9 to 5, live anywhere. I mean, it just sounds way too good to be true. It's got that late-night infomercial vibe. So what's really going on here? And the book itself kind of leans into this, asking the exact question we're all thinking. Is this kind of lifestyle with all that freedom and control even possible? Or is this whole thing just a clever trick to sell a bunch of books?
And the answer, honestly, is pretty refreshing. Is it possible? Yes, for sure. The book points out that tons of people are actually doing this. But, and this is a really big but, will most people pull it off? Nope, absolutely not. It takes a crazy amount of discipline and a total mindset shift. But just because it's hard doesn't mean the ideas are wrong, It's like, just because it's hard to stay calm doesn't mean stoicism is a bad idea.
So to really get this, you have to understand the book's single biggest idea, and that's completely flipping your definition of rich. It's not about the number on your paycheck. It's all about how you earn that money and what it costs you. So let's look at this classic comparison. You've got 2 people. First, there's John. He's making $150 grand a year. Not bad. Then there's our narrator, making just 30 grand. On paper, John is way richer. But look closer. John is stuck working 80 hours a week in a super expensive city. Meanwhile, our narrator is working just 10 hours a week from anywhere they want. So what happens when you actually break down the hourly wage? The whole picture just flips on its head. John? He's making about $36 an hour. But our narrator, even with that tiny annual salary, is pulling in $58 an hour. All of a sudden, that question of who's richer isn't so simple, is it? And this gets us to the core concept, relative income. It's a whole new way to measure wealth. It says that your time and your freedom are just as valuable as the money in your bank account. It's not about the raw number, it's about the power that number gives you. The book has this great little analogy to drive the point home. Imagine you're earning $5 million a year in a place called Breadville. Sounds amazing, right? But what if a single loaf of bread there costs $1 million? You're not rich at all. The real goal, the true wealth, is being able to earn in a strong currency, like dollars, and live or spend in a less expensive one, like pesos. Okay, so the big idea is clear. You want to maximize your relative income. But how? How do you actually pull this off? Let's get into the nuts and bolts of the blueprint. Well, at its heart, it's pretty simple entrepreneurship. The idea is to create what the book calls a muse. Think of it as a small product or service that basically sells itself online automatically. This is the engine that's supposed to make you money while you're, not working. And we can update this idea for today, right? Back when the book was written, the examples were things like, sketchy nutritional supplements. But a modern muse could be something you're actually passionate about, like, say you love philosophy. You could create a YouTube channel with animated explainers, just like this one, and monetize it with ads or a digital guide, something that scales. Okay, but here's the part where a lot of people get tripped up. It's easy to hear, create a product, and think it's going to be some quick, overnight success. But the reality is, it's not. And it's super important to be realistic about the work that goes into this. Look, this is not a 6-month hack to get rich. If you're starting from scratch, your first year might honestly be a total disaster. And that's okay, because the lessons you learn from that failure are what matter. A much more realistic timeline is probably 2 to 3 years of grinding, learning, tweaking, building, before you have something that's truly successful and automated. But even when you hear that 2 or 3 years of hard work, the book asks a really powerful question. What's the alternative? Putting in a few years of intense effort now versus what? Spending the next 40 years as, and I quote, a slave in a job you don't love? When you frame it like that, the trade-off starts to look pretty good. So if the whole point is to work less, then the time you do work has to be incredibly efficient. The book talks about 2 huge levers you can pull to make that happen. The first lever is elimination, and it's all about the 80-20 rule. You've probably heard of this. It's the idea that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your effort.
So your job becomes finding that super valuable 20% and just getting rid of everything else. The source gives a great example of someone cutting hours of marketing work down to 5 minutes, just by focusing on the one single website that was sending almost all their customers.
And the second lever is outsourcing. This is all about delegating the tasks that eat up your time but don't create a lot of value. The goal here is simple. You're basically paying someone else to buy back your own time, which is your most valuable asset. That frees you up to focus on that critical 20% we just talked about.
There's this amazing story about a guy who was super proud that he spent his entire day mowing his own lawn just to save 20 bucks. And the response he got was a total gut punch. So your entire day is only worth $20? That's it? That question just forces you to rethink everything and start asking yourself what an hour of your time is really worth.
And really, all of this, changing how you see wealth, building that automated business, and becoming super efficient, it all boils down to one final, really important question. So here we are, right back where we started. Is all this possible? Yeah, it is. But are most people going to do it? No way! The ideas are solid, the blueprint is there, but it demands a massive shift in how you think about work and time and money. So the only real question left is the one for you. Will you be one of the few who actually does it?